We're here to bring a new type of news show.
New insights, new styles, and new topics every day.
We are News Generation.
Bringing news just for you. It's Tuesday, November 18th here in Seoul. I'm Lee Soo-jin, and this is News Generation. Joining us today is Kyun.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming in. Also, Taeyong's with us.
Good morning.
Good morning. And both are here to speak on behalf of people in their 20s and 30s. So we're on day 2 of the work week, and today we're taking a little detour to something a bit more personal and meaningful: gold rings. In Korean culture, these aren't just accessories. They mark life's big milestones like weddings or a baby's 100th day and first birthday celebrations. So I want to ask, have you ever received a gold ring as a gift or given one to someone special, Seo?
Well, actually, I haven't personally received a gold ring as a gift ever since I became an adult, but I did receive them as gifts for both of my children. And of course, when I was a baby, I probably received gold rings at my own first birthday celebration because that's a traditional part of Korean culture. And going back to my kids, for each of their first birthday celebrations, we kept it small and invited only immediate family members. But even with such a small gathering, both of my kids received gold rings and bracelets from grandparents, aunts, and uncles, and we were really thankful. But at the same time, I felt a little sorry for them because the gold prices were already high back then.
Oh, I see.
And what's interesting is that the price has continued to rise ever since, and we didn't sell them right away. We kept them carefully stored, and I'm truly relieved we did. And now when my kids become adults, I plan to give everything back to them just the way it was gifted, and from that moment on, it will be entirely their choice.
I mean, looking back, so I mean, even now it turns out it was a good investment. So I guess in the future it'll be even more worth it. And also, your hands, like your fingers, are really fancy today.
No gold, but
She has everything but gold. Pearls,
I have
diamonds.
everything but gold.
So you were like, these some of them were wedding rings as well, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's really cool. So what about you, Kyun?
I don't have anything. But I think I did receive gold rings on my first birthday. Looking back at my pictures, but I think my parents sold them back then because I don't have them right now. Like Seong said, you know, she bought gold rings with her family members as well for her kids. But I guess back then, you know, giving gold rings to babies was very traditional. And it was actually my friend's second daughter's first birthday recently. And usually we give them handon, which is like 3.75 grams of gold ring to the babies. But right now, I think 1 gram of gold costs around 130 US dollars, which is a little too much to get for a gift. So we had to go a bit more practical by giving them nappies, which is also very practical. Expensive, actually. It wasn't that cheap either. So I think 5 or 10 years ago, giving a gold ring of like 3.75 grams was okay. It was very affordable. But nowadays, that's not the case anymore. But for me, among my friends, for a special occasion like the first birthday of a child, giving a decent amount of cash or even like a thin gold card has become the new norm of giving gifts.
So we now live in a world where even small gold ring is becoming a luxury. So that really shows how much gold prices have gone up. So instead of rings, people are now giving gold cards or cash, which seems like a practical twist on their tradition. So we're going to discuss this further, but first, let's take a look at the screen. Jewelry has always been a popular gift for life's big milestones, from a baby's first birthday here in Korea to weddings both at home and abroad. These sparkling pieces have long been a way to celebrate and mark important moments in our lives. But while giving jewelry might seem like a no-brainer, skyrocketing gold prices are starting to change the way people think about these traditional gifts. Today on News Generation, we're taking a closer look at how the younger generations are redefining their jewelry preferences, what they think about classic wedding gifts, and sharing our own thoughts on these evolving trends. So as we just saw in the video, rising gold prices and shifting attitudes are reshaping how people choose and give jewelry. So what used to be a fairly traditional process, especially around weddings and major celebrations, is now influenced much more by personal taste, practicality, and economic reality young people are facing today. So with all that in mind, in today's tougher economy, how are jewelry trends changing, Seong?
Well, jewelry is generally seen as a non-essential purchase, so it's highly sensitive to the state of the economy. Right now, with gold prices high, it's still meaningful to celebrate special occasions with gold jewelry, but at the same time, young people also want something practical and stylish at the same time. That's why we're seeing trends like 10K and 5K gold pieces or gold rings in various colors and designs becoming especially popular among young couples. And even if the gold purity is lower, using gold still carries significance as a valuable asset, and it can serve as a way to commemorate important moments while offering a unique design. So for young people celebrating milestones, this balance of meaning, style, and practicality makes it a very appealing choice.
All this makes total sense. So when the economy is tough, people really start thinking about what feels worth buying, and jewelry becomes less about tradition and more about practicality and personal taste. And it's interesting how rising gold prices don't necessarily reduce demand, but instead shift it towards pieces that feel meaningful or financially smart, like pure gold items. So it really reflects how consumer priorities are changing. And even with these changing buying habits, there's one occasion where jewelry is still deeply symbolic and often seen as essential, which are weddings. So when it comes to weddings, how are younger generations rethinking traditional wedding jewelry, Q?
So in the past, talking about the past first, up until our parents' generation, wedding gifts are often extravagant and very expensive. They were considered as pieces that felt very flashy to wear, except on the actual wedding day. So diamonds, gold, and pearls were the typical choices, as these items not only symbolize love, but financial capability and, of course, like social status. Now, for the MZ generation, meaning has become a more important value than just actually owning one. So as a result, the long-standing tradition of giving highly expensive wedding jewelry is becoming a bit more simpler. Wedding rings as well are shifting away from these major brand names, as couples now prefer kind of custom-made or practical rings that carry personal meaning they can share together by actually heading to local jewelry stores rather than going to department stores where things are just too extreme and very, very expensive.
That was my case too. I went to 종로.
Oh, you went to 종로. That's a famous gold, I guess, street. They have that whole place that's just that sells gold rings and jewelry. Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
Looking back, what do you think about your choice?
Well, small part of me still wanting to go to the department store, but I have no regrets. I think we made a very reasonable and practical choice. Yeah.
You know, for me, like I'm wearing my friendship ring today, and it's a bit different. But I thought it was really cool because we made it ourselves, and we were able to like write like on the ring itself. So I think like people said, like we were talking about, like meaning is also quite important too.
Friendship, as in like friend that's a girl, or
yeah. So I did it with a friend.
Are you sure about that?
So I think that was. I will show you later. And I think we're seeing that in the choices couples make today: custom rings, practical designs, and pieces they can actually wear every day. It's less about tradition for tradition's sake and more about choosing something that genuinely reflects their relationship. Another big change we're noticing is that even the material people choose is evolving. For decades, natural diamonds were basically the default for engagement or wedding jewelry, like Seung has on her fingers. But now there's a new option that younger buyers are really embracing. So can you tell us about this new type of diamond that's become popular, Seung?
Sure. Have you two heard of lab-grown diamonds?
I've heard of it, yeah.
I've heard of lab-grown rats.
Well, lab-grown diamonds, they are sometimes called the Gen Z diamonds. And the rise among young buyers is hard to ignore. Diamonds have long symbolized love and beauty that endures through the challenges. Their hardness, clarity make them the classic choice for engagement rings. Lab-grown diamonds, or LGDs, have the same minerals and chemical properties as natural diamonds, but they come come at a more affordable price, which makes them very appealing. On top of that, they are produced in an environmentally friendly and ethical way without exploitation, which is especially important to many millennials and Gen Z buyers. And I personally got a traditional diamond ring when I married many years ago. But if I were getting married today, hopefully to the same guy, I would definitely consider a lab-grown diamond too. It's a choice that balances traditional meaning and modern values.
And also
at
practical, right?
Yes.
So that's really interesting, especially the part what you said about lab-grown diamonds carrying the same qualities as natural ones, but at a much more affordable price. So I can see why that would appeal to younger buyers. And when we look at all of these shifts from simpler wedding jewelry to the rise of lab-grown diamonds, it really makes you wonder what's driving this change. So what do you think is the biggest reason behind these changing jewelry trends, especially among the younger generations today, Kyun?
It has to be the financial burden. That's the biggest factor. With soaring housing prices, high living costs, the overall expense of getting married has become so large that many people feel it is kind of overwhelming to spend hundreds of thousands or even millions of won on wedding gifts or rings. And this burden is even greater amid broader social issues such as job insecurity. And another important factor is the MZ generation's preference for choices that reflect their individuality rather than simply doing what everyone else does or have been doing. Instead of following traditional procedures, they prioritize practical decisions that make sense for them. So some may choose to spend less on wedding gift jewelry and use it for their honeymoon to leave longer lasting memories. Others may save up on other costs that are involved in the wedding process, like maybe a wedding dress or like photo shoots and venues as well. And like just spend a bit more on their, I guess, wedding rings. So it's become very different compared to our parents' generation where everything was just like very set and they had to follow those kind of social norms. If they didn't, like the marriage wouldn't happen. So it was between like pretty much two families, but now it's just become more individualistic where it's just between the bride and the groom and they come up with their own choices and their parents actually respect the choices they have made.
What would you think is like more important than jewelry? What would you spend more money on?
Oh, that's a very hard question.
There's so many, right? There's housing.
So
you mentioned housing, honeymoon.
You have to think about the housing as well. The wedding also is very important because it happens just once in a lifetime. The ring as well because it could be a source of investment as well. So
that's true.
There's so many things to consider. But I think being wise, the wisest choice is to actually talk it out with your significant other and come up with a good solution, like a middle ground. And at the same time, you need to compromise and look at the bigger picture.
That's very well said, well said. So can you think of any other reasons driving this?
First of all, I completely agree with what Kyun has just shared. And I think the main reasons behind the changing jewelry trends are economic considerations, a desire for individuality, and a mindset that values being true to oneself. And if we look at it more positively, I see this as a sign that young couples are placing deeper meaning or preparing a future together rather than focusing solely on material things. And it doesn't mean that the depth of love, their love has diminished. Rather, their approach has evolved to be more practical and realistic, reflecting a love that's thoughtful and grounded in everyday life.
Yeah, it's really fascinating to see how tradition adapts without losing its core significance. Love and commitment are still at the center, just expressed differently. And speaking of evolving traditions, we also wanted to get an international perspective on this. So for more on this, we're going to speak with someone from another country about her thoughts on the changing jewelry trends, especially when it comes to weddings. And that conversation will take place right after the break, so don't go anywhere.
NewsGen wants to hear from you. Go to YouTube and search out channel Arirang Click Posts and cast your vote in the poll. Make a new type of news with us.
Joining us today is Adriana, who's originally from Italy, a country where wedding gift ideas are also evolving. Hi, Adriana. Thank you so much for connecting with us today.
Hello, so nice to be here.
Good to have you. So to get right into it, so can you tell us what kind of wedding gifts are given and received in Italy? How are they similar to or different from those in Korea?
If you talk about the guests, usually they give money, which I think is the best gift for weddings. But when we talk about, because I also know that in Korea is quite a culture to give each other families gifts, and also to the bride and the groom give each other a gift as well. We don't really have that culture. So we only exchange wedding rings, which is just a simple golden band. So we don't even use diamond in it. It's very simple. And we don't even have a propose culture. So we don't even have a different ring for the propose. So I guess it's less strict than Korea. We don't really gift a lot of jewelry.
Okay, ciao, Adriana. So in the future, if you when you get married, what kind of wedding gifts do you want to receive or give?
From the guest, as I was saying a while ago, I think the best gift would be money because, for a newly married couple, that would help a lot with the new start. But from my husband or from my husband's family, I'm fine. Like, I don't need to receive any gift, or otherwise I would be also stressed about what to give back, and a lot of money are gonna be involved. So it's okay. I don't need to receive any gift.
All you need is love.
Exactly.
All right, last question to you, Adriana. Some people, might feel that leaving out wedding gifts can be a little disappointing. So what is your take on that? And personally, what do you think matters the most when it comes to wedding gifts?
I think that in Korea, especially, weddings prices are already very high, and couples already have a lot of pressure on them about having a big wedding, and especially from the family. I think they kind of force them to follow a lot of traditions or like doing in a certain way. So as you were saying a while ago, I think that when we talk about weddings, the only thing that matters is talking with your husband or with your wife and just decide step by step what you really want. Don't do anything for others, and just if you're economically already not ready to give this kind of big gift, it's okay just to skip this kind of old traditions. So I think it's very smart from Korean the generation couples to skip this kind of tradition. It's okay. You don't need to have this kind of big gift.
I agree. I think it's really important to figure out and to have a conversation with your partner and think about what really is important to both of them. So great. Thank you so much for joining us today.
It's okay. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.
So we just heard from a young person from Italy about wedding gift traditions are evolving among the younger generations there and how she personally plans to approach her own gifts in the future. We also want to hear from our viewers about what they think of these changing jewelry and gift trends for special occasions. So we asked on the Arirang YouTube channel, what do you consider the most important factor when choosing wedding gifts? So according to the survey, 80% of respondents said personal meaning for the couple, making it by far the top consideration. Price came next at 14%, followed by brand at 4% and other factors at 2%. So it's clear that for most people, the meaning behind the gift matters far more than the price or brand, and that really shows how weddings are becoming more personal and focused on the couple rather than just tradition or status. And 80% prioritize personal meaning, which really highlights how the younger generations value thoughtfulness and sentiment over luxury or labels. And these results make a lot of sense. At the end of the day, it's a story and significance behind the gift that truly counts, not how expensive it is. So since you're not married yet, but I'm sure you hope to be someday, how do you feel about these changing jewelry trends for weddings and other celebrations, Kyun?
I totally understand the changing shifts, and yes, I hope to get married very soon. But it's always good to look into these current trends if you know you're going to follow the similar steps of others. But at the same time, instead of doing exactly what others are doing, I think staying true to yourself and being a bit more realistic is really important, and it can actually help you go further into the relationship in the long run. And I think if you can afford it, why not? I don't see why you can't go overboard by adding another digit to the price tag of wedding gifts. I mean, it can become more meaningful in some sense. I'm not saying money is everything, but it is significant to have a better looking diamond ring because you want to feel happy and proud of who you're meeting. And I don't know, I think it's like as long as it keeps you afloat, like if it's expensive, if you can afford it, go for it. If you can't, and if both of you can understand that, that's totally fine. So right now, like I said, gold is seen as an investment, golden haven. So who knows how much gold will cost 10 years later. So if you want to think of it as an investment as well, why not spend it that extra money? Yeah.
There's no right answer for this. And as someone who's married, thinking about your own experience, Hae-young, and what you've seen in others, what do you feel is the best approach to wedding jewelry and gifts?
Well, first of all, I'm not a big fan of the very former traditions around wedding gifts and jewelry in Korea, which is called 예물 or 예단. Of course, every family has their own values, and that's perfectly fine. But I think this custom shouldn't make wedding preparations more stressful for a young couple. And I was fortunate that our parents respected our choices, so we kept things simple. We just our wedding rings and watches, and used the rest to prepare our home with the furniture and essentials we really need. And that said, I understand a wedding is a once-in-a-lifetime moment. It's so natural to have some dreams for that day. But the key is finding a balance that fits the couple's need and budget, of course. And after all, what matters most isn't the ceremony or the jewelry, but how the couple builds their life together afterward.
Well said, well said.
So
whether you go big with traditional gold, opt for a lab-grown diamond, or keep things simple and personal, today's younger generation is really defining what these gifts represent. So at the end of the day, it's less about tradition for tradition's sake and more about choosing something that really fits your life. And while it's easy to compare yourself to what other couples or families are doing and what social media says you should have, it's so much healthier to stay grounded in what actually matters to you, because what's really important isn't the brand or how impressive it looks, it's the reason behind the gift. And if the meaning is there, then the gift, no matter what it is, becomes something truly special. So that brings us to the end of today's episode of News Generation. But News Gen will be back tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Korea time with more stories and discussions. A big thanks to Kyun.
Always a pleasure.
To having us, Hae-young.
Thank you for having me.
For joining us today. And to our viewers, thank you so much for tuning in, and we hope you have the best day. We are News Generation.